Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Plan B, a life coach journal. And I'm glad to have you here again after quite a while that I didn't publish a new episode of podcast. The main reason was I was very much busy with the new challenges such as recording YouTube trainings and videos. That was a new area of activities which I wasn't familiar with that much, and I can say at the moment I passed that stage. So I started recording few videos, and because of that I started to record the podcast also in format of video, because I think it is more relatable and I can make better connection with my audience if I start doing it through the video rather than audio only. This episode I am going to talk about discipline, motivation, and how we execute our plan efficiently. The reason I chose these topics are because I recently released two videos. The first one was about motivation, and the second one was around discipline. And it was, for me, very important to start where we actually developing our state and developing our mental and physical and identity state to a situation that is actually helping us to promote ourselves in a way that we are working efficiently. We are working around our purpose, around our vision. That's very important. I think the first two elements that usually everyone struggle with is I'm not motivated, or I don't have discipline. I'm not disciplined enough to stay on my task, and because of that I lose the motivation. So it becomes a vicious circle, because as soon as you lose motivation you start falling behind your plan, falling behind your schedule, and that means that you become even less motivated, and so on and so forth. So it becomes literally a vicious circle where you cannot control your life anymore. And if you don't pay attention to the situation, it actually goes even further, and for some people leads to depression, to situations that they found themselves paralyzed and cannot do anything. And we certainly don't want to get there. And what we want to achieve instead is to get to a positive cycle. And the positive cycle what I'm talking about is we achieve something and we do something, even if that task is very small. And then because of that, we feel motivated and we start another task. And gradually, this motivation momentum builds up, and we found ourselves in a much better state. The only problem with this formulation is every time we stop for a rest, every time we pause, we have to start again. And of course, the day is only few hours and we need rest. We have to rest and we have to again start. And there is no guarantee the day after I'm going to do the same thing. And that's where discipline comes. And we usually formulate discipline through routines, the definition of habits, introducing habits to our life. So for me, starting with these two main concepts of motivation and discipline was quite crucial. I was struggling whether I have to first start with state management and bringing our state to another level, which I started that in the third video. But I thought this is very important to start from discipline and motivation. If you haven't watched those videos, please do. That's very interesting discussion around motivation, around discipline. And of course, I try not to necessarily repeat the same thing here and add more value. And if you're listening to the podcast, you will realize that there are differences between what I'm going to discuss here versus what I discussed in YouTube trainings. About discipline, what I discussed over the course of the training was that you need a framework where you actually start identifying the temporal discounting, the mechanism that brain tries to do whenever we are dealing with a decision making around temptations or around execution of our tasks. And the temporal discounting is actually the mechanism that is behind our procrastination or perfectionism. And it starts negotiating with yourself, with your inner self, that by doing a task, what you are actually going to achieve or what you are actually going to lose. And by not doing that, what else you are going to do. For example, if the task is asking you to do more study, what comes to your mind is you're going to just do a lot of work for something that you're not going to learn a lot. You have to do a study 10 times, 20 times, or to the end of the year if you want to get the master or if you want to get the degree that you are looking for. But on the other hand, if you start looking at other temptations that your brain is negotiating with you, such as let's watch Netflix or let's do something else, then you realize that that's something that I can get straight away. And that's the joy and that's a pleasure that I can get right now. And what we don't know is this temporal discounting prefers the benefits and the rewards that are accessible, and don't like something that you don't see it close to you, and it's far-fetched. There is no certainty about that. So that's one aspect of it. And the other aspect is it also says that if you want to do something, a practice, there is a pain usually associated with that. For example, if you are thinking about healthy lifestyle and we need to go to gym, we might see that there is a pain associated to that activity, which is exercising, sweating, and getting out of the comfort zone where we are. And that also can be something that brain starts thinking as, oh, this is something I want to avoid. Why not go to the comfort of your sofa or start drinking or spending the night with your friends? So these are all elements. These are elements of a temporal discounting. And when you think about it, it makes sense. And the reason this mechanism is in our mind is the result of million years of evolution, where we are actually trying to avoid situations which is stressful or there is an element of a discomfort with that. And we wanted to think about survival. We wanted to think about getting out of the dangerous situation and not necessarily think of a reward that is far-fetched. What you get now is more important. But nowadays it's different. It's a completely different story. And the only way that I think we can start interrupting this negotiation is by awareness and bringing the awareness to the play. And what it means is start thinking about whenever we want to make a decision, pause and be aware of this mechanism. What's going to happen now? I know that my brain is going to negotiate with myself and choose the option which is not necessarily very helpful for me, and I have to be aware. And then you are going to shift your thought, and the shifting permission is the mechanism that I explained in the video. Shifting permission is the mechanism that I explained in the video. And what it is that you are going to start thinking of, okay, if I do that immediate comfort, that immediate joy, it comes with a pain. And the pain, two kind of pain, the short term and long term. So the long term is, of course, you're going to lose that opportunity that you had if you would stay at home and if you would exercise at gym, or if you would do your study and your paper or whatever long-term activity that you are supposed to do. So that's the long-term pain. That you sacrifice that for that immediate joy or immediate comfort. And the second pain that we are also going to get is usually these sort of activities like eating or not exercising, or they also have an element of short-term pain associated, such as feeling sluggish after eating a lot, or feeling not healthy, or feeling guilty because of not doing that. So if we are going to bring that awareness to ourselves, we can start thinking of what we are going to sacrifice, what pain we are going to bring to our life. And just that moment of pause and that moment of awareness and that moment of thinking about all these elements will give you an idea of, okay, hang on, I can change it. End of the day, this is my choice, and I can consciously make a different choice. And that's very important. That's a very important lesson. And don't expect that overnight that's going to change. This is awareness, only awareness. We might bring the awareness and still take a different decision. The message here is to bring the awareness first. The second point I started to explain was part of those procrastination as part of this temporal discounting is, again, that the mind see two problems with the task that we are doing. And that's another aspect of discussion today, is how we are actually going to execute efficiently. Okay. And I mentioned the 2 points with motivation, that we start small and we make the momentum, and what I explained there and what I also explained earlier in this podcast. But here I want to add something more, a different aspect which I didn't explain in the video. And that was, if you are going to bring that awareness for shifting permission around the discipline, around the decision making, when we want to make a decision about the major tasks of our lives in a daily basis, we also have to make sure that, one, we have a full clarity of the task, okay? And 2, we need to make sure that we do the task mindfully, okay? So clarity and mindfulness are 2 main aspects. I explain more about what do I mean by these 2 elements shortly. Okay, so let's start talking about efficiency in execution of our tasks. And I mentioned about clarity and mindfulness. And I would like to say, if we bring these 2 elements, we almost kill 50% of procrastination that we are bringing to our routines and to our main tasks. And you might ask how. And if that's the case, it would be easy, because most of the time we are procrastinating, and we hear a lot of time that people start complaining around, I'm doing a lot of procrastination. And that's quite often what we hear from different people, from different clients, in different forums. And if you look at most of the videos or discussions around success and around motivation, is to just make such motivation or make such difference that you overcome the hurdle of procrastination. And how we are going to do that is, usually when I said clarity, what I mean is have a clear list of action that we want to do. Okay, so I just give you an example. When I wanted to do the video for the YouTube, it was very difficult for me because I'm not very familiar with technology around recording, editing and all those areas. But even if I do that, I don't know exactly how to publish in different websites, how to change the ratios, everything. But in my to-do list was do research, learn the software and record the episode that I am planning to record. And of course I did that, but I realized it takes a lot of time, because I need to take the video and I need to edit it in the software and do a lot of work. And quite often I ended up with something that instead of taking 4 hours, 3 hours, it took me about 2 days. And that completely changed my plan, my course of actions. And I thought, if that is the case, I'm going to lose a lot of time, and as time is my main resource at this stage. Then I realized I have to think about clarification. What are the main elements and what are the main steps that I need to do? And for each of them, I need to spend a good amount of time. Otherwise, it becomes completely impossible to do the task. And I know if I start something, I can improve it later. So I don't mind if the task takes 2 days. As long as I know I can do it, I can finish it, then I can improve it to bring the 2 days later on to 1 day, and later on to half a day, and later on to 3 or 4 hours, or even less. So that clarification started by listing, okay, number 1, I need to do a script writing. Number 2, after script writing, I have to do some practice. I have to go through the scripts. I have to read that out loud and try to practice how to say it. And then I have to do recording maybe once, maybe twice. And then I do editing. And finally, the transcription for different platform. And I put at the end packaging for Instagram, blog, podcast. So I recorded the video. I needed to change the ratio for Instagram Reels, for example, or from the transcription, make a blog for my website. So then I realized that, yes, if I have that clarification and if I know that each one, what does it mean? What is behind the script writing? What is behind the practicing of the script? What is behind the record and edit? All of them. If I know that, I have the clarity. Then when I plan it, this week I have, so usually for each week I put in my plan that I have to record 1 video. So if I plan it, then I know what I am doing, then I'm going to do that, and it's clear, and I finish it. And that's where the clarity helped me a lot, because it helped me to finish that task and made me not to escape from it. The second point I mentioned was about mindfulness. And what do I mean by mindfulness is usually when we are in a rush and we think we are going to do a lot of tasks, we just run and sometimes multitask. At the same time that I am practicing, also at the same time I can actually do a little bit exercise, or I can walk, then I can record my voice, and then at the same time I can ask the other program to and transcribe the video. And then you realize your day is full of small elements of tasks, and you at the same time you don't do everything. You can't do everything. At each point of your life you can do only one thing. Only one task. And that's very important. And it's better that you do that task mindfully, meaning that you are only focusing on that specific task. Why? Because while it sounds counterproductive in the sense of you are slowing down, but in reality, you are going to finish with quality, and you are going to move on because you don't need to come back again because you finished it. You put your soul, you put your focus and attention to that task, and you finished it to the level of execution that you are satisfied. And that's what I mean by mindfulness, and bringing mindfulness to your execution. And I started this when I was typing an email, and I realized, okay, let me write that email and then send it, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So it was in my workplace, and I find that after 1 hour I didn't even send one email, and I had 5 or 10 windows open, half a sentence there, half a sentence reply to other one. It's because just notification coming, distraction coming. Oh, I have to do that. Oh, I remember I have to do this as well. And then I realized that I have to stop. I have to pause. And what I did was, just to my surprise, it changed everything in my life, because I started just write one email, And when I was typing, I was even thinking about the alphabets that I was pressing, that I was pushing on my keyboard. That level of mindfulness that I never brought to the day-to-day job, actually. So I started to do that, thinking, okay, I'm going to do right, and I'm going to type, and I have to be careful what I'm typing. I don't want to retype. And that mindfulness slowed down maybe me in typing, but all of a sudden I realized, oh, it's 5 minutes. I managed to send an email. Clear. Fantastic. Move on to another task. That next task, another 5 minutes. Next task, another 5 minutes. I finished that as well. So that makes a lot of difference, because you might think by multitasking or paying attention to several things, you speed up. That's not the case. You better just at a time do one task. And that is not only efficient, but also makes the task full of joy. And the process is enjoyable. And you realize, oh, it's therapeutic. And you feel less stress in the work, and you're enjoying it. So that's the two elements that also you have to bring. The first one about clarity, have the clarity, break down the task to a standardized process that you understand each of them. And then the second one, bring mindfulness to each step, and then you will find that you are going to close the task easily. And this fact of slowing down is not a big problem, because first of all, it's not actually a slowing down. And even if it does slow down your process, the next time you're going to be more efficient. You are now familiar with the process, with those steps, and you will execute faster. Bring these two elements to that motivation and discipline, which I explained earlier, and you will find the process is completely changing your attitude towards tasks, attitude and your approach towards procrastination, towards your daily tasks and execution of your plan. Okay, so at the end of this podcast, I would like to also mention about 2 points around a weekly training program. I started developing this program about 2 weeks ago, and basically it will include 15 sessions, and you are more than welcome to join. And I will make the announcement maybe next time, the next podcast, or in the website, or if you are in the Instagram, I will definitely announce it in the Instagram at Amir Farhangi with AmirFarhangy. If you search that in Instagram, you will find it. And the same address is amirfarhangi.com for the website. And the program is about bringing the elements of success in a framework that is pragmatic, practical, and you can start bringing the results to your life, to your daily life. And what it means is that we all know about different elements of success. There are lots of books already written about success, what we need to do, the planning, different aspects of success. And I don't claim I have something new, but what I can claim is in Plan B, I made a framework. The framework that connect these elements in a way that makes sense to you. And that's something that I would like to think as a person or as a creator, I'm adding a value to the community. And that's where I would like to see myself. I mentioned before that my passion is around coaching. And what I mean by coaching is not necessarily giving the advice about self-improvement or self-development, although I am doing it through Instagram, through YouTube, through this podcast. But more importantly, the aspects of coaching and the aspects of having this positive conversation, the designed positive conversation where it coaches you to get to the bottom of things, to get to the truth, to get to the breakthroughs in your life. Now that I mentioned this, I started the training and apprenticeship program around coaching, life coaching, professional coaching, and this is just started about 2 months, and I found very similarity with the aspects of the coaching I knew in advance. However, the elements of academic material and practical material inside this course is beyond what I already knew, and for that reason I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to this course. And as part of this apprenticeship, I need to coach few clients, and if you are interested in this program and would like to experience life coaching or professional coaching in a subject of your choice, I'm more than happy to provide this as part of my training. And this will be for 2 clients. I need 1 external client now, and I need another external client. And what I mean by external means not within the company that I'm working in. So I need 1 external client now and another external client next 6 months. If you are interested, whether now or whether for the next one, please let me know. Reach out, whether through the website or Instagram. Find a way and reach out, and I'm more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to do more than just 1 external clients now and 1 in 6 months. I would like to do more, and for each of the clients, I am going to ask to get in touch in Teams or in Zoom to do what they call chemistry call, and within the chemistry call we get to know each other, and I put a contract, and the contract is agreement between 2 parties, the coach and coachee, and it doesn't mean that you have to sign it necessarily. It is just a concept. And after that, I need to arrange 1 hour per month for 6 months, 1 hour per month, where we are going through that coaching experience. And this will be a completely game-changing subject. And the reason I'm saying is I was familiar with coaching. I did a lot of mentoring, and I implemented the framework of self-coaching in myself, and I developed something I called ROAR. And I will explain, I'm pretty sure I will explain this mechanism within either the weekly training or within the YouTubes or here in the podcast. And you will find a lot of benefits if you are implementing the self-coaching mechanism that I explained through the course. Apart from that, this program is actual coaching, self-to-one coaching, and I would like to have more experience in coaching. So give me a shout, and that will be, of course, for free. And I would like to think that I can provide this free coaching from March. So as soon as possible, if you can reach out, let me know, and we can plan something. More than happy to do more than one. So if there are 2 or 3 client interested in the subject, and you are already in the path of improvement, in the path of self-improvement, and you find an area that you're struggling and you think I will benefit from coaching, I'm more than happy to provide this service. And yes, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of podcast Plan B, and I'm going to see you soon, hopefully mid-March, with another episode. The next one will be about building identity, and I made a video in YouTube calling the power of visualization. And that's not a visualization yellow psychology. Again, no disrespect to some programs, but in my opinion that is required, but it's not enough. What I meant by visualization in this training, and I invite you to watch it. I haven't published it yet. I'm going to publish it next week. I recorded it, I finished the recording, but I will publish it next week. So please watch that program as well. But we will have more in-depth discussion in the next episode of podcast, and looking forward to seeing you all there. Until then, goodbye.